Greetings everybody, Andy Dukes here again and welcome to Ride and Talk. I just want to start today's episode with the pure sound of a BMW factory superbike going through the gears, for no other reason than it sounds incredible, and it's a great way to introduce today's guest. But first, let's just enjoy hearing a few corners of onboard action from the Lausitz ring. Listen to that all day. Right then, back to reality. Today's episode is of course all about racing, because as I'm sure you're aware, there's a new addition to the BMW Motorrad World Superbike team for 2021, Michael van der Mark. I managed to catch up with a fast-flying Dutchman recently to chat about his thoughts on the MRR and what he hopes to bring to the team in this year's series. Welcome to Ride and Talk and welcome to the BMW Motorrad family, Michael. It's great to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, it's cool to do, and we've got time for this now. So
absolutely, yeah. I mean, we first chatted back in January when you'd only had a quick outing on the new MRR at BMW's private test track in Miramas. I think since then you've been able to do some proper testing in Jerez and Catalonia. So, how is your feeling for the bike now?
Yeah, it was good to have ridden the bike last year a little bit, but now in Jerez, we had a 3-day private test with just 3 BMW riders and the first proper taste of the new M1000RR. And it was, it was a long winter, so I had to get used to everything again. But I think it's fair to say that the whole team did an amazing job, because we did 3 days in Jerez and then 3 days in Catalonia, or 2 days in Catalonia, without any problems. And the bike is quite new, so that was, for everyone quite a good relief, and knowing that everything works really well, and the speed, lap time wise will come as well.
Yeah, I mean, the last time we spoke, I could really sense your frustration at the not being able to get out on the bike, not being able to ride more, being stuck in lockdown like the rest of us. But it's great that things are finally moving. So from the test so far and from your initial impressions, where do you think the bike is really strong already, and what areas of improvement are being focused on since the tests?
We had to test a lot of stuff because there was a lot of new things, and I think the handling itself, the bike is a really strong point. But it's always this last little bit, which makes a difference in lap times, which is whatever bike runs is difficult to find. But for me, for the team, one of the biggest improvement compared last year is top speed. They needed a bike who was a lot quicker on the straight, because they were really fast in the corners last year, but lost everything on the straight. And now we got some good top speed. Yeah, so that's easy to get a lap time. And now we can focus on the rest. So one of their biggest issues is kind of fixed.
Yeah, I can remember you saying last year when you were on the Yamaha, you used to watch in the corners, and it was very good, the S1000RR in the corners, but like you say, it had a deficiency in top speed. So great news that's being fixed. Now, of course, you raced that cross-plane bike for the past 4 years, I believe. So the BMW factory superbike will feel and sound quite different, I guess. Did it take some adapting to at first?
Yeah, it took some adapting, and it still is. I've been riding the crossplane for 4 years, and exactly what will happen and when the bike starts to spin. And with the M1000, you always ride a bike listening to it, and for me it was difficult in the beginning to find out when it starts spinning. It takes an adaptation, but we're getting there for sure.
Yeah, with a new bike like the MRR, there are so many different areas to work on, lots of new parts to try, as you said earlier, and I guess it can be easy to lose your way, going in different directions. But after these tests, do you at least feel like you've got a decent base setting established?
Yes, exactly like you say. We had so many things to test, and also I had to get used to the bike. And I think in the first day in Catalonia, we got little bit lost because we had to try so many things. And the second day, we had quite an okay pace. And yeah, at a certain point, I felt with race tires, used race tires, my pace was pretty good. So at that point, I thought, okay, now we have a good base, and comparing with the other guys, we were not the quickest, but we were getting there. So yeah, but there's so much work to do that sometimes we forget to just ride a bike.
I can imagine, yeah. It's never ending, is it? Never ending. But hopefully, I was wondering if these tests were also useful for you personally to get to know the whole team better face to face, especially after the isolation many of us have experienced during lockdown and those long months.
When I did Estoril test, it was just one day, and now we had like the first 3-day testing in Jerez was perfect because it was just us. So it could just, it was just us, just the team, and getting used to each other, which was really good. And the team has grown a little bit, and yeah, I really enjoy working with the guys.
Great. Of course, bonding with a new team is really important, especially when, I don't know, a crew chief, technicians, data loggers, etc. They've all got to translate your feedback into positive changes on the bike that actually work on the track. So I'm interested to know how analytical you are as a rider and how much you study the data before and maybe even after races.
Yeah, I'm quite different than most of the guys. I don't like to talk a lot, but just explain my problem. Just keep it short and keep it, not simple, but just say what the problem is and then fix it. And if there's a problem, okay, I look at the data, but I'm not sitting there studying for hours because for me, I get lost then in my, it's for me difficult to focus. I want to ride my bike. So, yeah, and this is pretty, I think sometimes it's really strong because then you can try to solve 10 problems. But when you solve one big problem, maybe it solves the 8 others as well, So I'm just clear, just one step at a time, and just clear, not too much talking.
Yeah, it's a real skill to be able to translate a rider's feedback into actionable results, though, isn't it? But I just wanted to ask you about the new bike because you were signed very early to ride for the team for 2021. So did the fact that there was this all new MRR coming, did that really help you make your decision, or were you just ready for a new challenge?
For me, it was for sure it was a help because many manufacturers are coming with a new bike, and look at Kawasaki, Honda last year, Ducati, Kawasaki this year. So yeah, it was helping me for sure because I feel like with the Yamaha, it was it's a really, really strong bike. But if everyone keep bringing newer bikes with new technology and stuff like that, I felt like, okay, we might come at a point where we will be behind them. And yeah, for sure, with seeing the new M1000 helped me a lot with the decision.
Yeah, like you say, there's lots of new bikes from a lot of the rival manufacturers, and obviously there are also new riders in the 2021 series. So do you get a feeling that it could be the most competitive for some years this year?
I think it's always been really competitive, but if you look at the test, and especially in Catalonia, well, it was really close lap time wise, and like a normal time when everyone was on race tires. So yeah, that looks very promising, and I think we can make a good step forward, and especially with another BMW team in the paddock with Folger and later on Leverty, this will help us a lot, to improve the whole package.
Yeah, I was interested to know what your thoughts are that, because there's going to be 4 BMWs lining up this year. So does having those 2 extra satellite teams, does it add any extra additional pressure for you as a factory rider? Or do you just feel part of one big project together?
Well, yeah, normally you think that okay, that's some extra pressure, but I think right now for BMW and this whole project is good to have a satellite team, and especially with the same materials as, because it's not a winning bike yet, so we need all the sources to develop it, and I think with Folger and Levity, two really fast guys with a lot of experience. Um, and of course Tom on my other side as well. Um, yeah, we've all ridden different bikes, and I think all together we can make it a winning package.
Yeah, Tom on the other side. I wanted to ask you about him, obviously. How closely do you expect to work with him? I mean, I guess it's always good to have someone fast and experienced on the other side of the garage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good to have someone fast there. I think we've all seen how strong Tom can be, and also with the S1000, he's been on the podium a couple of times. So yeah, no doubt about that. And yeah, we have a really strong team, and we will keep pushing each other.
Yeah, but the fact remains that challenging for the podium with a new bike is never easy. So I'm interested to know the goals that you're actually setting yourself for the season, because obviously you've got the pedigree. I think you finished third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh in previous years in the World Superbike Series, not in that order, of course, but realistically, what would you be pleased with in 2021?
I think for us is to get on the podium as soon as possible. That's our goal. You know, I don't want to set anything clear. We all know that we want this project to, that we get this bike that far so we can win for, or can fight for a world title. But we have to do it step by step. So I'm not setting any goals now. I think we can be really happy if we get on the podium as soon as possible.
Yeah, that would be great. But things are always changing, aren't they? And I think the race calendar's changed again, hasn't it? Certainly the last time we spoke, the first round of this year's series was due to be at Assen, your home race. But the season opener now, I think it's in Aragon towards the end of May. So I know that you're someone who's genuinely happiest when racing. So you really must be looking forward to that first round in Spain, especially after such a long break.
Yeah, especially such a long break, and testing is really nice to be back on the bike, but racing is something different, and I'm happy we're gonna start. Unfortunately, Assen has been postponed, but then we start a bit later and we have a little longer season. I don't really care as long as we can go racing.
Yeah, and just coming back to Assen briefly, as a Dutchman, you've had some really good results there in the past. So is it the layout that suits you, or are there other factors that make this track so special for you? Is there a bit of history in there, or?
Yeah, I think a bit of both. It's just, the layout is fantastic, and unfortunately, I've never rode the old Assen, but I still think Assen is really cool. And yeah, of course, I started my career there, so it's a bit special as well. But yeah, I just love the layout, and no matter what bike you put me on, I will be fast there.
Yeah, I guess the home support always makes a difference, doesn't it? So let's hope some fans are allowed back by the end of July when the Superbike Circus comes to the TT circuit, eh?
Yeah, hopefully we can get some fans there, because racing is nice, but it's still a bit boring without anyone around.
Yeah, it's not the same without the fans for sure. Did you really miss them last year?
Yeah, because normally you're battling in a race, you fight for a podium, for a win, and after the finish, everybody's clapping, cheering, and then you cross the finish, and okay, the team is there on the pit wall, but that's it then. So yeah, we're missing the fans. I remember, I think Portugal, Portimao, they allowed some fans uh, around the track, and yeah, it gave a bit of a special feeling. Finally, seeing some people around again.
Yeah, gave you a boost, made all the difference for sure. You're a very laid back guy, Michael, but I'm interested to know if you still get nervous before races.
Yeah, always.
So, do you have any sort of pre-race superstitions? Like putting on your socks, gloves, or boots on in a certain order, or maybe wearing the same lucky pants under your levers? Any of those crazy things?
Yeah, I got a couple of them, but I'm not gonna tell you.
I didn't think you would. All right, let's just talk about the secret of his success over the years for a minute, because not many riders make the successful switch between classes, but you've had wins and achieved championships from 125cc through 600s all the way up to 1000cc. So what would you say is the secret of your success? What do you put it down to?
No, I think some good people around me is one of the most important thing, and also a lot of things in life. Sometimes you must have a little bit of luck, and it's not always been easy, but with the right people, you will get there. And also make the right decisions. Not to leave a class too soon and stuff like that, which you see happening quite a lot now. When kids move on maybe too quick to a bigger bike or stuff like that. So I cannot say it's one thing. It's all together.
Yeah, good advice certainly does come at the top of that list, doesn't it? Because just staying an extra year in a class can make all the difference because confidence is a big player. But in terms of your career highlights, I'm thinking probably it's the World Supersport Championship title or maybe the Donington World Superbike double in 2018. What would you say is the number one highlight of your career so far?
Well, as a kid and when I started racing, I wanted to be a world champion. So my world championship is for sure on top of on my list. But I had so many incredible memories as well. So for sure, the world championship will be on top of my list. But for example, like Donington Park will be. It's not that far off.
It's up there for sure. Yeah, I can imagine. Is there a single race victory that sticks out in your mind as being something that really you'll never ever forget, such as starting from the back of the grid and winning the race, or can you think of a single race that is really special just for that reason, just for the way you performed on the day?
Well, I was in Spain and I saw Alex Lowe's there, and when we had that Suzuka win 2018 when we did the race together, that one will always stay in my mind because normally you do this race with the three riders. Our Japanese teammate got injured, and it looked like the team gave up because he was injured, and he's their hero, and it was just Alex and me. Like, okay, we're just gonna see where we're gonna finish, and we know we can finish on the podium, but at the end it was such a crazy race with the weather changing and stuff like that, and at the end we won it. So I will never forget that race, and I will never forget the pain I've been in afterwards.
I can believe it. Yeah, that's a lot of hours and a lot of laps for sure. And to do it, in Japan in front of the Japanese and the importance that they put on that race, it must have just been amazing. You've done that several times as well. You've had a lot of success in Suzuka. If you're asked, would you consider going for more trophies in this format, or would you just prefer to concentrate on World Superbikes for BMW for now?
Yeah, my focus is on World Superbike, but whenever it fits in the calendar and if you've got time to do it, why not give it a try?
Never say never, absolutely. Now, the pictures and the videos from the tests look fantastic, and it was great to finally see your factory race bike in full team colours. Would you say that they're the best looking bikes on the grid for this year?
Of course. I think our bike, if you look up from the front, it has something special. It looks really, really angry, and I really like that.
It's going to be cool seeing some of these on the road over the next months. But like a lot of races, you don't actually have a road license, do you? But how good do you think the series production MRR could be for customers to ride on track days, for example, and of course on the road?
You see how much production bikes have grown the last couple of years, how good they are. And if I see what a massive step the M1000 took compared to the S1000, I think it will be a really good bike to just get it out and just go to a track to ride it. So I don't know. I want to try one, to be honest.
I'm sure that can be arranged, and I'm sure they'll be on tracks more often than they're on the road. But I think you also like your fast cars, don't you, Michael? I mean, how was your recent experience of learning to drift in the M3 and the M4?
Yeah, we had this introduction of the new M3 and M4, and yeah, we had a kind of drift session, and it's nice. These cars have a drift analyzer. So you make a drift with the car, and the car will give you stars from 1 to 5, and say how many degrees and how long the drift was, and there were a couple of other guys, and we had to do this drift parkour, and at the end I managed to do it all in once, and then the car didn't give me 5 stars. So what happens when I get my new M4? I need to get 5 stars in drifting.
Absolutely, yeah. Always remain competitive, and of course you need to be fit to compete in the championship this year. So, what about your pre-season fitness levels? Has your personal trainer whipped you into good shape already?
Well, to be honest, I never stopped since the end of the season. I think as a professional, you have to be fit every whenever they need you. So we never really stopped, and of course now when we have a bit more time, we train a bit harder, because during the season we got a little bit less time, more traveling, so you don't want to train as hard then, because you need to recover as well, because I think many people forget that sometimes the recovery is even more important than training hard. So I've always stayed fit. We never stopped training during the winter. But now we've got some more time. We go a little bit harder.
Yeah. I mean, apart from the actual racing itself, which requires a tremendous lot of physical effort, what are the best sporting activities that you can do to best prepare yourself for World Superbike racing? I know Eugene told me that a lot of people cycle, but cycling is not great because it changes your bone density, and if you've got a reputation as a crasher, then it can be a little bit difficult for you. But I know he's a very, very serious cyclist, Eugene, so...
Yeah, but it's cycling. I live in Holland. Everything is flat. So if I go cycling, I need to cycle like 8 hours.
You need to get cycle to Munich and back.
Yeah. Well, they've got some hills there. But I think it's difficult to say. You have to be fit. Doesn't really matter what you do, if you go running or cycling or mountain biking. I do a bit of everything, not to get bored. So to keep changing it a bit, or boxing, for example. So I don't think you only get really fit when you ride a real bike, because you cannot really train it. So you have to have a good base, and then when you ride a lot, you get a lot fitter by riding.
Yeah, understood. And away from the track, when you're not racing, what else do you enjoy doing?
Drifting with my M4. Yeah.
I should like to see that.
Yeah. We will see it soon, I think.
Good. And finally, Michael, how can our motorsport fans follow you on social media this season?
They have to follow us on television first, don't they? To watch our races and hopefully come to the track if they allow us. But I think Instagram is really hot right now. It's my favorite social media, and of course Facebook is there as well. But Instagram, I'm always not always, but there's always something new up there, and follow me and follow the team, of course.
Absolutely, yeah, of course. The BMW Motorrad WorldSBK team will be posting loads of content across its channels too. So, Michael, it's been great chatting with you today. We're really looking forward to seeing you on the BMW in 2021, and we wish you all the best for the coming season.
Cool, thank you. Speak to you soon.
Thanks, Michael. It's clear that you're passionate about what you do and are itching to get out on that factory BMW Superbike and get racing again. And who can blame you? Just the thought of being able to see 4 BMWs lining up on the World Superbike grid this year is enough to get any bike racing fans' juices flowing. So hang in there, everybody, and let's hope that the wait won't be too long for all of us. Anyway, take care out there, stay in touch with us, and let's continue to make life a ride together. Bye for now.